Almost forgot to turn some of my audio stuff off when I started. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I was under the impression that we were getting a My Hero Academia chapter. And I thought one was dropping today. But apparently, My Hero is on break for 2 weeks. I don't remember it saying that we were on break for 2 weeks last week. I don't remember it saying that we were on break for 2 weeks. Unless I wasn't paying attention and I completely missed it. But looks like the only reaction I'm going to be doing today is JUJUTSU Kaisen, because I got questions concerning the last chapter, so we need to go ahead and get that sorted out right now. Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another live reading of JUJUTSU Kaisen. Last we left off, we had Yuji and company talking about wanting to change the rules, making it so that people can leave the culling game with a substitute. And they're like talking about the logistics of the culling game. We get reminded once again some of the rules of the culling game that's happening right now. And Sumiki, the stepsister of Megumi Fushiguro, shows up. And we're all thinking like she's going to join up with them. But all of a sudden, when she's asked to make it so that people can, leave the culling game but use a substitute, she instead makes a rule making it so because they got 300 points. They have 300 points. It takes 100 points to make a brand new rule, and they have 300 points. But Sumiki shows up, and for some odd reason, instead of, asking the Kogane to add the rule to make it so that someone can leave the culling game, but someone has to exchange with them, she instead makes this weird request of saying, like, make it so that people can exit and enter into different whole colonies, which is not the rule that Fushiguro and Yuji have wanted to use. So let's go ahead and get started with today's chapter, chapter 212, The Ripening, Part 2. And it cuts to Sumiki, who's in a wheelchair, beforehand. She's in a wheelchair, and this must be what happened before these events. As she goes, Megumi. And then Fushiguro is just there. Hey.
How long has it been? It doesn't feel long to me.
About 1 year and 7 months.
Oh, that's why it's hard to walk.
Have you heard about the culling game?
Yes, and about Gojo. I knew you two were working on something dangerous.
There's no need to worry. My comrades and I will handle it. So can you go back to sleep? And then Sumiki just looks at him, and then she starts laughing.
As usual, you have a sharp tongue.
It won't be long now. Once this is over, Fushiguro will be safe. I can have the angel get rid of me and Sukuna and free Gojo from the back of the prison realm. And this is Yuji. Now, mind you, Yuji has had some scars on him, ever since this fighting has been happening. But we cut to Yuji thinking, it won't be long now. Once this is over, Fushiguro will be safe. I can have the angel get rid of me and Sukuna and free Gojo from the back of the prison realm. Then everything will be fine and dandy. And it cuts to Gojo, who's standing on a mountain of, curse users like, ha ha, Satoru Gojo! I alone am the exalted one. Maybe I should have done it sooner. I could have helped Fushiguro and disappeared. Thank you for giving me a role to play. But now... And then it cuts to Sumiki, who says,
add a rule, allowing entry and exit across colony borders.
Huh? Approved! Rule 12! Players may enter and exit across colony borders!
Better to choose your battleground, right?
And then this cuts to whoever the Sumiki character is, as Fushiguro goes, Who are you?
Who am I? I'm your big sister, Megumi Fushiguro!
Oh. This is not Sumiki.
I'm your big sister, Megami Fushiguro.
Then we have narration. When a being takes flesh, it gains knowledge of the present from its vessel's brain. That's how players of this type, such as Choso and Sukuna, are able to function in modern times. It makes it possible to read the vessel's memories and impersonate that person. Why did I assume that Tsumaki was the awakened type?
Funny, no?
Fushiguro, what's going on? And both the angel and Yuji just run up to Fushiguro's side. Fushiguro!
I'm Yorozu. Many people of the past would know of me.
Why? All this time?
You came to me with your plans and gave me 100 points for free, which I'm happy to accept. I haven't fought for 1,000 years, so I want to choose who and where I fight. And first I choose Sukuna.
And then a pair of wings just appears on the back of Tsumaki. Tsumaki is not the awakened type. She's the one who has the spirit of a past curse user in her. She's not awakened. She's just a vessel for a past curse user. And she gets like wings and she just flies off.
I'll be waiting.
And then she just takes off. And then Angel and Yuji just go,
let's go after her.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, a side mouth comes up from Yuji and he goes, and it's Sukuna who goes, in chain. And then it cuts into the mindscape. It cuts into the mindscape of Sukuna as he goes, I have 2 conditions. You agree to let me take over your body for 1 full minute when I chant in chain. And you will forget about this agreement. Oh, snap! So when Sukuna beat Yuji all the way back then, the conditions that he set was to make it so that whenever Sukuna wants to take control of Yuji's body, all he has to say is in chain. And Yuji doesn't remember because the second condition is Sukuna saying, the second condition is that you will forget about this agreement. So whenever Sukuna wants, he can take over Yuji's body. And Yuji has no idea about it because Sukuna made him forget. No, this is bad. This is bad. Whenever he wants, he can take over Yuji's body. And Yuji has absolutely no idea or way for him to be prepared for it. He'll never know. Those are Sukuna's demands. Firstly, hey, Ogata-san, good to see you. Now we know Sukuna can take over Yuji's body whenever he wants now. Well, he's always been able to do it, but we've never known. We actually never knew the conditions that Sukuna set. We never knew it. We knew that he set conditions, but we didn't know the parameters of it. Now we know. First condition. I hit my finger. First condition. Whenever I say the word in chain, I automatically get control of your body for 1 full minute. Second condition. You forget about this agreement, which means that Sukuna has free reign over Yuji's body for a full minute whenever he says the word in chain. Whenever. And Yuji has no idea. But it cuts to him with Sukuna going, I have 2 conditions. You agree to let me take over your body for 1 full minute when I chant in chain. And you will forget about this agreement. And then Sukuna, in control of Yuji's body, comes up behind Kurusu and grabs her by the neck and knocks her unconscious. Uh-oh. I cut a binding vow with the boy, not to kill or hurt anyone for 1 minute. Sukuna, why? However, from here on is a gamble. And what the heck? I cut a binding vow with the boy not to kill or hurt anyone for 1 minute. Why? However, from here on is a gamble. And then it shows then it shows Sukuna's pinky. It shows Sukuna in control of Yuji's body. It shows his pinky turning like a different color, like cursed energy is going through his body, and Sukuna just rips that finger off. He just like this black energy is coming up, this black cloud, like this black coloring is coming over Yuji's finger, and Sukuna just grabs onto it and completely rips it off. What's he doing? And then it just cuts to Sukuna looking at the finger, and then he just looks at the finger and goes, that boy is such a... I gave myself hiccups trying to do that laugh. That boy is such an idiot. That vowed to not hurt anyone. Didn't I gave myself hiccups. Dang it. Hold on. That boy is such an idiot. That vowed to not hurt anyone didn't include him. So he's just casually ripping off fingers from Yuji. These hiccups. These hiccups are annoying. That vow to not hurt anyone didn't include him. And then it shows Fushiguro, who's preparing to fight Sukuna, as he goes, with this treasure, I summon. And before Fushiguro can do anything, Sukuna is already next to his hand, and he's grabbing it. The hand signs. And before Fushiguro can do anything, Sukuna grips Megumi. These hiccups! It's getting annoying now. These hiccups are getting annoying. I think we're good now. Before Megumi can do anything, Sukuna appears right next to him and grabs him by the face, like forcibly grabs him by the face. And while he's doing that, Sukuna puts his hand over Megumi's face and forcibly tries to render him unconscious. Remember what I said. Oh, wait. Megumi says... All of a sudden, this face appears, like it's a weird, real face, and then a voice goes, remember when I said we'd see something interesting, boy? Oh, what? 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 Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait. What? Yo. I had to go back and look. I was wondering what the heck was happening. But it's still Sukuna. Remember when I said we'd see something interesting, boy? And Yuji looks on in horror as Sukuna has transferred himself from Yuji's body to Megumi's body. Sukuna just transferred his entire being from Yuji to Megumi Fushiguro. Has he always been able to do this? What does this mean? What? Has he always been able to transfer himself from one body to the next? Is this temporary? Yo. Sukuna just transferred himself from Yuji's body to Fushiguro's body. Yo. Bruh. I didn't even know that was something that Sukuna could do. No. There is no way that Sukuna just casually transferred himself from Yuji to another individual. Has he always been able to do this? I knew he was interested in Megumi, but I didn't realize he was planning to transfer himself over to Megumi's body this entire time. He just casually transferred himself over to Fushiguro. See, here's what I thought would happen. When I looked at that chapter, when I looked at that panel, I thought, something's happening to Fushiguro. Maybe something like he was saying divine treasure. And I thought for some odd reason that Toji Zenin was, inhabiting Fushiguro's. I know it sounds way off in left field, but when I saw the markings and I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Because when I saw the markings, I looked at Yuji's face and I thought, okay, the markings aren't on Yuji anymore. I think it depends. How many fingers has he ingested? So far, he only has like 4 more fingers of Sukuna left. I think there's only 4 more fingers of Sukuna that Yuji has to consume entirely. What in the world? Has Sukuna always been able to do this? Has he always been able to transfer his body, himself, over to another person? Hold on, let me see how many fingers Yuji has consumed. How many fingers has he eaten? Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to look. 15. So it wasn't 4, it's 15. It's 15. It's 15. He's currently at 15. Currently at 15. Sukuna just transferred himself over from Yuji to Megumi. What? What? How am I supposed to process this information? First, we find out that Tsumaki is not an awakened curse user, but actually the vessel of an old curse user from 1,000 years ago that has inhabited her body and has used the rule to allow exit and entry into other colony borders that will allow her to fight Sukuna. Because this individual, Yorozu, apparently, wants to fight Sukuna for some reason. Okay, there's so many things. Okay, so here's the thing. The thing that makes this go from bad to worse is Hana Kurusu is completely knocked out. Sukuna has knocked her out. Because part of the agreement for a whole minute, Sukuna can't kill or hurt or kill anyone, but Yuji is exempted from this as he casually just rips off his pinky. Maybe, for example, he eats 15 fingers and then Sukuna gets the power to transfer himself between different people amongst other broken abilities. See, Ogata-san, you're exactly right, because the more Yuji keeps consuming fingers of Sukuna, the more powerful Sukuna keeps becoming. Which means that the realm of it's not out of the realm of possibility for Sukuna to have regained the ability to transfer himself from one person to the next because of how many fingers Yuji has consumed. Because the more he consumes, the more powerful Sukuna becomes. And we don't know the full scope of his abilities. But we know it's extensive to the point where he's capable of copying other curse spear techniques. One example, when he copied the exact same techniques as Jogo during their fight, which was so astounding that it was completely unheard of. And he used that same power to take Jogo out. So with 15 fingers consumed, it's really not out of the realm of possibility for Sukuna to regain the ability to transfer himself from one person to the next. How powerful is this dude? The heck? Why you got all this power? Hold on. We need to go down the list. And what makes it bad is that these individual fingers by themselves were growing in power when they were taken from Sukuna. Because right here, just going over, because hold on, I need to saw MD Shock Lane, good to see you. We're talking about Jujutsu Kaisen and the fact that Sukuna just transferred himself from Yuji to Fushiguro. That's concerning, because the reason why it worked well enough for Sukuna to be sealed in Yuji is because Yuji had an enormous amount of willpower. Yuji has an enormous amount of willpower that allows him to, gain control of his body whenever Sukuna steps out of line. Like, he's been proven to show that he's capable of allowing himself to, override Sukuna's control. But we don't know how strong Megumi's willpower is. And we all know that Sukuna has had a weird fixation on Megumi for some reason, and now he's inside Megumi. This is concerning. Finding out that Sumiki is not actually an awakened type, but actually there's a reason Sukuna's fingers were separated. The power, we gotta go over just to understand how big of a threat Sukuna really is to basically everyone. Sure, we got Kenjaku, but Sukuna's out here now. Let's not forget that even though the real big looming threat is Kenjaku as he's trying to take Tengen and, do whatever he wants with Tengen that threatens the entirety of the world, Sukuna is up there with being just as dangerous as Kenjaku, a person with the title of King of Curses. A person who was defeated once, and just his fingers alone are sought after. Just his fingers! We ain't even talking about his whole body. Just his 20 fingers, because he has multiple arms. Just his 20 fingers alone have been sought after by cursed spirits that will help them become stronger, but also sought after by the Jujutsu schools to, preserve them and also safeguard them so that they could never again cause Sukuna to rise and hopefully be sealed and destroyed. But the fact that they're indestructible just shows that all that people can do is just basically seal them and hide them away. Sukuna It's scary. It really is scary because when we've seen multiple examples of how scary Sukuna actually is as an individual. Him against that special grade curse and him insta killing it. Him using his domain expansion and just eradicating everything within a mile distance. His domain expansion that can affect the real world. It's not just an open domain that is selectively cordoned off from the rest of the world, and it's just like this endless, boundless space that people are stuck in. No, he is capable of using it in the real world, and he'd eradicated all part of an entire city just by using it. Then we see him just casually fighting everyone. His mere presence is enough to get everyone paused. The only one who's not bothered by Sukuna is Gojo, and Gojo's not here to put Sukuna in line. Everyone is scared of Sukuna. Everyone is fearful the moment Sukuna just steps up. Like the dude says, I will kill you all if you move from this spot that this one guy is about to drop a meteor on. And not a single person moved. Not even the people that were on the side of the special great curses like Hanami and Dagon. None of them moved. No one moved because everyone knows that if they do anything against Sukuna, they're instantly dead. The two girls that were rescued by Goto when he was alive, they tried to manipulate Sukuna and both of them died instantly. Because he saw them as like, how dare you try and tell me what to do? Like, this dude has no chill. He's literally the most dangerous individual that's on the planet right now, other than Kenjaku. And now, this individual, who was kept kind of in line with Yuji and his willpower, is now in the body of Megumi Fushiguro. So just to give you like a really good example of just how strong this dude is. According to a legend, during the golden age of Jujutsu over 1,000 years ago, Sukuna was an imaginary demon. Thought, though in truth, was a human sorcerer, and other sorcerers gave their all to defeat him. After his death, he became a cursed spirit, and his curse was too strong for his body to be fully destroyed. Henceforth, his remains of 20 indestructible fingers, preserved in grave wax, traversed the ages as cursed objects, ever growing in power. They got stronger as the decades and centuries went on. So, it stands to reason that Sukuna is even stronger than he was 1,000 years ago. Because they've been growing in power, separated. These individuals have been growing in power, separated from each other. So it stands to reason that Sukuna is far more powerful than he was back then. In the present, Sukuna has been reincarnated into Yuji Itadori due to the latter eating one of his cursed fingers, which contained his fragmented power. So, here's the thing. Overall skill level, Sukuna is a special grade cursed spirit. As the most powerful cursed spirit in the entire series, Sukuna possesses vast amounts of cursed energy. Sukuna's presence was felt throughout Shibuya once he was awakened. His cursed energy is similar to Satoru Gojo in its immensity, but different in its overwhelming evil nature. He soon went on to overwhelm and defeat Jogo, the most powerful cursed spirit in Mahito's group. Even Gojo acknowledged Sukuna's strength, stating that fighting him would be tough. In every single appearance, Sukuna has proved that he is by far the strongest cursed spirit ever. He seriously injured Mahito when angered, defeated Jogo without much trouble, defeated Mahoraga, something no user of the Ten Shadows technique and even a member of the Gojo family with the 6 eyes had done. Now, mind you, it's not including Gojo in this because Gojo is the first person in 400 years who was born with both the 6 eyes and the Limitless as well. Sukuna's strength is only rivaled by other special grades like Yuta Okotsu and Satoru Gojo. Those are the only two individuals whose strength rivals Sukuna. Yuta Okotsu and Satoru Gojo. Incarnation. There's a slim chance that Sukuna will incarnate into whoever eats his fingers, gaining a physical human body in the process. Upon Yuji consuming the first of his 20 fingers, Sukuna immediately came to possess his body, which he has inhabited ever since. Until today. master hand-to-hand combatant, immense strength. In his first appearance, Sukuna has shown to possess tremendous physical strength despite being in an incomplete state. He could easily defeat a very large cursed spirit with just a single swipe, and during his fight against Gojo, he was able to punch the roof of the school so hard it causes the building to rupture and crack. He easily overpowered the likes of a finger bearer, a special grade curse. When gambling Yuji's life against Megumi, Sukuna managed to fling the sorcerer through several building floors without effort, and he easily overpowered and destroyed Megumi's Shikigami. He even punched Megumi so hard the raindrops in that area dispersed. With 15 of his fingers, Sukuna punched Jogo through buildings and even destroyed the latter's jaw. His blows had considerable effect on Maharaga. And then you have enhanced speed. Immense speed. Has shown to move at incredible speed such that his opponent didn't even register Sukuna's movement at first. He was able to continuously dodge Jogo's attacks and keep up with Maharaga in their fight. With 3 fingers, he caught a finger bearer off guard and beat him into the ground. Sukuna was even able to appear in the middle of Atsuya's Kusakabe and Panda, both capable sorcerers, with the former being a grade 1 sorcerer. That's the moment where he dared everyone to move, otherwise he'd kill them. Isn't Gojo the first in 100 years with 6 eyes and Limitless? No, it's actually 400 years. It's actually first person born in 400 years. Not 100 years, but 400. Yes, Satoru is the pride of the Gojo family, the first person to inherit both the Limitless and the 6 eyes in 400 years. Not 100 years, 400 years. That's how long it's been. But this is the power of Sukuna. This is the power of Sukuna. Immense reflexes, immense durability. Even in Yuji's body, Sukuna can use cursed energy to bolster his host's resilience. Sukuna was punched through 5 buildings and shown to be completely fine. Then tactical intellect, metamorphosis. Then you have his own Jujutsu, immense cursed energy. Sukuna possesses immense levels of cursed energy due to his innate power, cementing his title as the King of Curses. He was able to continuously use his techniques throughout his battles without exhausting himself in the slightest. He has skillful control over his cursed energy, being able to use domain expansion and reverse curse techniques. His amount of cursed energy far surpasses other special grade cursed spirits. Then, of course, reverse curse technique, which is what allows him to instantly regenerate, and he has almost instantaneous regeneration. And then he has binding vows, one of which we find out the exact stipulations of. We find out that the binding vow that he put himself and Yuji in allows him to take control of Yuji's body for a full minute. And the second condition of that binding vow is that Yuji forgets that the agreement was even made. Which means that Sukuna has free reign to use Yuji's body whenever he says the word enchant. Enchain, not chant, when he chants the word enchain. That allows him to take control of Yuji's body whenever he wants. But he's not in Yuji's body anymore. He's in Megumi Fushigoro's body. Which is a great concern, because the only one who's currently conscious right now on the group that's on the roof is Yuji, because he completely knocked out Hanakurusu. Like Binding Vows has an unnamed binding vow with Yuji. The King of Curses agreed to revive the boy after his apparent death during the events of the Curse Womb arc under 2 conditions. The only reason why Yuji is alive right now is that Yuji agreed to this agreement, which we find the stipulations of right now. 2 conditions. 1, Yuji would allow Sukuna to take over his body for 1 full minute when the cursed spirit would chant enchain, and 2, he would forget about the agreement. Yuji initially opposed the binding vow, making Sukuna promise that he wouldn't kill or hurt anyone during that minute. The boy still disagreed with the terms and instead had a battle against the King of Curses where he'd allow the agreement to occur if he lost. Remember, that's the same battle when Sukuna instantly sliced off Yuji's head, like slice his head instantly. That's the moment when the binding vow went into effect. And after all this time, Sukuna has had the ability to take over Yuji's body when he said enchain this whole time. The minute Yuji tried to fight Sukuna and lost, that's when the binding vow was made, and Sukuna has had absolute control over that binding vow the entire time. Sukuna effortlessly defeated Yuji, forcing him into the binding vow. And then we have innate technique, which we currently don't even know what Sukuna's base level curse technique is. We've seen him use different abilities, and we've seen him use different abilities, but we've never seen Sukuna's innate curse technique. I'm not talking about his Malevolent Shrine domain expansion. I'm talking about his innate technique. It is currently unknown what Sukuna's curse technique is. He was shown to use his cursed energy to slash targets and was also shown to use fire-based powers when he said an unintelligible word that allowed him to basically replicate the exact same type of curse technique that Jogo could use. So part of me thinks that his innate curse technique allows him to copy and replicate other curse techniques. Because how else would he be able to do that? Unless he's just so powerful that he can just do that automatically. Because he has Dismantle, which is his default slashing technique, normally used for inanimate objects. However, it can be used against cursed spirits to greater effectiveness. And then Cleave, a slashing attack that adjusts itself depending on the target's toughness and cursed energy level to cut them down in one fell swoop. That's a scary ability. The ability for the cut itself to adjust itself and become more powerful the tougher the opponent is and base itself on the cursed energy level, which means that it is an attack geared specifically against cursed spirits and cursed users, making it so that regardless of how high their cursed energy level or how tough they are, the cleave attack he uses will adjust itself so it still can cut through them regardless. It automatically adjusts to fit with that person's level, so it's powerful enough to kill them instantly regardless. This is scary. Then the unnamed fire ability can create and manipulate flames for long-range attacks. These abilities exceed Jogo's. Remember, I just said that Jogo was one of the most powerful cursed spirits that was in Mahito's group and specialized in fire-based curse techniques. Sukuna was able to use the same pyrotechnic abilities, but to a much stronger degree than Jogo. These abilities exceed Jogo's, an unregistered special grade curse whose defining trait involves extremely destructive pyrokinetic powers. And then, of course, we have his domain expansion, which is called Malevolent Shrine. Creates a Buddhist shrine decorated with skulls. Malevolent Shrine has a unique trait. It doesn't create a separate space using a barrier. A binding vow is formed by allowing an escape route, which vastly increases the guaranteed hit effective area with a maximum radius of nearly 200 meters. That's all the powers that Sukuna's has. Not reading the manga, but you have seen some stuff. Who are Sukuna's allies and how are they alive? Now, here's the thing. I don't think Sukuna has any allies. I think he has rivals and enemies. But these are individuals that were probably alive when Sukuna was once alive. So he doesn't have any allies. He just has himself. But he has people that want to kill him. Like the angel that inhabits the body of Hana Kurusu, she really wants to take out Sukuna. Then we have Yorozu, who's inhabiting the body of Megumi Fushiguro's stepsister, Sumiki. She wants to fight Sukuna, saying that she hasn't fought anyone in 1,000 years. So Sukuna doesn't have any allies. Kenjaku has allies, because he entered into binding vows with who knows how many cursed users from 1,000 years ago. But Sukuna doesn't have any allies. He just has enemies and rivals, and people who either want to kill him or just straight up fight him, which is what Yorozu wants to do. And now, what makes this situation even worse, and I'm going to close out here because I've already been going on long enough, what makes this situation even worse is that Yuji was the perfect person to keep Sukuna in check simply because Yuji had the ability to, suppress Sukuna at times. But that line started to get a little bit shaky the more fingers he ate. And now Sukuna has basically just removed himself from Yuji's body entirely and has placed himself into Megumi now. That's bad. Because now Sukuna not only has his regular techniques that he can use, but he also has access to Megumi's Shikigami techniques as well. Because Yuji was not a curse user. Like, he had, like, abnormal levels of strength and toughness, but he was not a curse user. Him being Sukuna's vessel made him a curse user. But Megumi is already a curse user, and now he has the most powerful curse spirit inhabiting his body right now. So now, with him being inside of Fushiguro's body, now we get to see why Sukuna is so interested in him. Because he could have killed Fushiguro at any time, but there's something about Megumi that intrigues Sukuna so much that he's just so undeniably interested in the more fingers Yuji ate. Sukuna was just sitting by saying, checkmate. Yeah, Sukuna was counting on this. He was counting on this. This is crazy. This has been his plan the entire time. This has been his plan the entire time. Since he was stuck inside the body of Yuji, he was just biding the time for Yuji to eat all of the fingers, just so that Sukuna could gain even more power, which would allow him to transfer himself from Yuji to Megumi. This dude was playing 4D chess from the very beginning. Like, you can tell just from the way that he made a binding vow that benefits him. He made a binding vow with Yuji that benefits him more than anything else, because Yuji doesn't get anything out of this deal. When Sukuna's in control, Yuji can't do anything about it. And he has no way to tell if Sukuna is ready to pop up and take control. Now, let me go all the way down here. Okay, so the wiki really hasn't updated ever since Sukuna used Malevolent Shrine during the Shibuya incident. And then he turns back, he allows Yuji to gain control of his body again. Only for Yuji to realize that he killed countless amounts of people. So it really hasn't updated it yet. All right, I'm done looking at that. I'm scared. I am scared, everyone. I am actually really scared about where things are right now. We don't know how strong Megumi's willpower actually is to contain Sukuna. And remember, this is a Sukuna who's been invigorated with 15 of his fingers. 5 more and he'll be at full power again. 5 fingers away. And Yuji has been able to keep, Sukuna supposedly. You know what I think? I don't think Yuji ever had control over Sukuna at all. I think the only time Yuji had proper control over Sukuna was when he had 1 finger. I honestly believe that Sukuna let Yuji have that one moment where he gained control of his body, and he's been biding his time this entire time. Because we really haven't seen any real major flare-ups from Sukuna for a while now. Now we're seeing it in full, and he's over in Megumi's body now. I honestly believe that Sukuna has been playing Yuji and pretty much all of us, including us readers, for fools this whole time. He probably had every opportunity. He probably had more than enough time to, take over Yuji's body, but he thought it was more beneficial for him to just lay back and wait for Yuji to eat more fingers, allowing Sukuna to gain more power. Will Sukuna look like Yuji or Megumi in Megumi's brain? Because in the flashback, he looks like Yuji. I wouldn't say he looks like Yuji. He looks like Sukuna. Sukuna's had a very peculiar face. The reason why Sukuna looks the way he does in comparison to Yuji is because he's... Actually, that's actually a really good point, Alien. Alien with spaceship. That's actually a really good point. He may end up looking like Megumi in his mind. He may end up looking like Megumi in his mind. You're actually absolutely right. He may actually wind up looking like him. Family's calling me. Might be calling for food. Let me answer them. But Alien, you do bring up a good point. He might end up looking like Megumi in his mind, or he could wind up looking like Yuji. It's anyone's guess. And if I go back to this page, apparently we don't go on break from this. It doesn't look like we go on break. I incorrectly thought that we were going to have like a My Hero Academia chapter today, but apparently that's on a break for the next week, for the next full week. So for 2 weeks, actually. So we got to wait on that. But apparently we are not going on break for the next chapter of Jujutsu. Okay, so things that... okay, I got to close out. I'm already approaching 50 minutes. I normally don't go this long for Jujutsu. But things have just gone from bad to really bad. Why? They can't catch a break. First, we have a curse user that Sukuna apparently knew, or this cursed spirit knew of Sukuna from 1,000 years ago, who's inhabiting the body of Megumi's stepsister Sumiki. And she used the points in order to allow entry and exit out of colony borders, which will allow Sukuna to chase after Yorozu later on. But now we have Hanakurusu, who is the one true hope of getting Gojo out of the prison realm. She's been rendered unconscious by Sukuna, literally grabs her by the throat and then just knocks her out. Then Sukuna then transfers his entire being over to Megumi, leaving Yuji, making Yuji no longer the vessel of Sukuna. So now I got to think about, like, if Sukuna is no longer in the body of Yuji, is Yuji still slated to be executed? Because Sukuna is not inside of his body anymore. And you know what's going to be bad? What's going to be bad is that if Sukuna stays inside of Megumi's body, this is going to make Gojo going up against Sukuna even more perilous, because he's not going to be inside of Yuji. He's going to be inside of the very individual that Gojo has been looking after ever since Gojo killed his dad, Toji Fushiguro. So it's going to be even more of a mind scramble for Satoru to encounter that. If he goes up against Megumi, it's going to be hard because Gojo is very close to Megumi, due to him growing up with him all these years. So that's, why? Why must things go wrong? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm just thinking about this. Like, this man had the entire ability to transfer himself. For who knows how many fingers he was waiting for Yuji to consume for him to be able to transfer himself. Because he just did it casually. He knew he could do it. He just did it casually. Which means that this probably isn't the first time he's transferred himself to a new vessel for him to just effortlessly do it. He just instantly knew. So he probably did this 1,000 years ago before. But we're just going to have to see in the next chapter. Good God, man. I was not expecting that. Out of all the things I could have thought were going to happen, I thought it was going to be just like a sole chapter about who is this imposter that's impersonating Sumiki, and it just turns out it's just a curse user that has you know, awakened inside of Sumiki. Like, if I go back here, I got to go over this and then I'll stop. I promise I will. It's just that this chapter is messing with me. Something fierce. So what it means that when a being, back here says, when a being takes flesh, it gains knowledge of the present from its vessel's brain. That's how players of this type, such as Choso and Sukuna, are able to function in modern times. That makes it possible to read the vessel's memories and impersonate that person. And this individual can make bug wings appear on their back. And then, as both Yuji and Kurusu chase after, Sukuna gains control. Sukuna gains control of Yuji's body. And while Hanakurusu looks like she's about to fly after, apparently Sukuna grabs her by the wings and then renders her unconscious. I cut a binding vow with the boy not to kill or hurt anyone for 1 minute. And before Fushiguro can even use with this treasure I summon, Sukuna is already on him, keeping him from... Oh, I know what it was. I know what happened. I'm just now realizing what happened. I thought something... Okay, I need to say this. Before I close this out. I understand what happened now. When he ripped off his finger, that finger still has Sukuna in it. So what he did was he didn't just casually rip his finger off. He put all of himself in that one pinky finger that he ripped off, and then he fed it to Megumi. Because I didn't pay attention to the sound effect. When he was holding Megumi's mouth open wide so that he couldn't close it, he took that same pinky he ripped off and then force-fed it to Megumi, which is the exact same way Yuji came to inhabit Sukuna, the exact same way Yuji came to become the vessel of Sukuna. So he just ripped his finger off, fed it to Megumi, and now he's the vessel of Sukuna. He basically just did the exact same thing that started Yuji down this path of being the vessel of Sukuna. Now I understand. I had to look at that page again, because I was wondering what exactly is happening. But then I realized the gulp sound effect is how it happened. Because I was thinking he was holding him by the face, and then he put his hand over his face, and then he just forced his essence to go through his hand and into Megumi. But no, the way Sukuna did it was by making Megumi eat the part of himself that was Sukuna. Not the part of him that was Yuji, but make him eat the finger that had Sukuna in it, which allowed Megumi to become a new vessel. And just to show that this is a real serious change, Yuji no longer has like the eye markings under his eye that he normally would have if Sukuna was in control. Those markings are gone. The extra eye slits that would be on his face, those are gone. Sukuna has transferred himself fully over to Megumi. I thought it was going to be temporary. And he said it was going to be a gamble because it was stated before that it's a gamble that consuming a finger of Sukuna would turn you into a vessel. A slim chance. But Sukuna gambled that on ripping off that finger and force-feeding it to Megumi that he become his new vessel. So now, Yuji's no longer the vessel of Sukuna. I thought it was going to be on a timer, but it's not. Yuji's no longer the vessel of Sukuna anymore. That's permanent. That's permanent now. Megumi is now the new vessel of Sukuna. This just makes it so much even more worse because I thought But that's weird because if he can do that with half or 30% of his soul, can there be two? Or what if two people eat Sukuna's fingers? Are there two vessels? I mean, all of Sukuna exists in each individual finger. It doesn't matter which one. But I don't know if we don't know the full scope of how this works, but you can tell a curse user, you can tell when a person is a curse user of Sukuna simply because of the markings that are permanently on the person's face now. And Yuji no longer has those markings on his face. Those same lines that are usually under his eyes are gone in the last panel completely. They're gone. Remember when I said we'd see something interesting, boy? And Megumi fully Sukuna'd up, like with the markings on his nose and the markings all over his face and the extra eyes underneath. Megumi is now fully the vessel of Sukuna. I can't believe I carried this for almost an hour. Because I was trying to understand that last panel so hard, but now I understand. Sukuna purposefully transferred himself over to Megumi. He's no longer in the body of Sukuna. He's no longer in the body of Yuji. I don't know if he can like split himself up where it's like multiple individuals that house Sukuna in himself. That house Sukuna in each individual vessels. I don't know. Because we don't know the full extent of just what Sukuna is. We know he used to be human, but he became a cursed spirit so powerful that his own body couldn't be destroyed in all of his fingers. We don't know the full scope of Sukuna's abilities. We don't know the full scope of his abilities yet, which makes this even more threatening just seeing how casually he just ripped a finger off, force-fed it to Megumi, and now Megumi's the new vessel of Sukuna. We don't know. But I think when he was turning that finger black, he was putting all of himself into that finger. All of his essence, all of his self into that finger, so that when he force-fed it to Megumi, every bit of Sukuna that was in Yuji is now fully in Megumi. I honestly believe he put his whole self into Megumi, and he's not just like pieces of him exist in Yuji. When he turned that finger black, that was him putting every bit of himself into like a single finger just to force feed it to Megumi. That's what I honestly believe. But like I carried this on for way longer than I thought I was. But that's what I honestly believe, and the situation has just gone from worse to catastrophic. Because Sukuna's in a new vessel, we don't know if Megumi's going to be able to keep him at bay mentally with any willpower, we just don't know. And now we got a new curse user that's challenging Sukuna, and Yuji can't do anything about it. We don't know I don't know what's going to happen next. We got to wait until next Sunday. All right, I'm done talking, because if I keep thinking about this, it's just going to make me think like, these people cannot catch a break. They cannot catch a break at all. But I'm done. It's just, wow. How? Wow. And how? Wow and how? I'm done for the day. We're going to continue with Dead Space tomorrow. But it's, how? I'm sorry. I'm done. Hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, share this stream and video with everyone that you know, because the more the merrier. The more the merrier. And maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always... Sorry, I heard my family come up. That's why it distracted me. Later, peoples!